My fiancée texted, "We need to end this. I can't do it anymore." I replied, "Okay." She expected desperation, begging, drama. When I didn't respond for 5 days, she showed up at my house. I was already dating someone new. She introduced me to original post. I, 31 male, got the text at 9:47 p.m. on a Sunday. I was sitting on my couch, watching football, drinking a beer, completely relaxed. My fiancé and I had been together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. We were supposed to get married next spring. The text read, "We need to end this. I can't do it anymore. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I just can't. I'm sorry." I stared at it for probably 2 full minutes. Then I typed back, "Okay, that's it. One word. Sent." Here's the thing most people won't understand without context. This wasn't the first time she'd done this. It was actually the fourth. The first time was about 6 months into our relationship. We'd had a minor disagreement about plans with her friends, and suddenly she was done and couldn't do this anymore. I panicked, called her 30 times, showed up at her apartment with flowers, apologized for things I hadn't even done wrong. She graciously forgave me, and we moved on. The second time was after I got a promotion at work and had to cancel a dinner with her parents. Same playbook. This isn't working. I deserve better. I begged. I pleaded. I sent her a $200 flower arrangement. She came back. The third time was the worst. We'd been engaged for 2 months when she pulled it over me not wanting her mother to be as involved in the wedding planning. 3 days of radio silence from her while I lost my mind. Text after text. Voicemails. I even wrote her a letter, an actual handwritten letter, explaining how much I loved her and how I'd do anything to make it work. She loved that letter. Mentioned it for weeks. How romantic it was. How she knew I really cared because I'd fought for her. See the pattern? It took me embarrassingly long to recognize it for what it was, a manipulation tactic, a test. She'd threatened to leave, and I was supposed to prove my love by groveling, by chasing, by making her feel wanted and powerful. And every time I did it, I was teaching her that this behavior worked. But sitting on that couch, reading that fourth breakup text, something in me just clicked, or maybe broke. Same thing, really. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even particularly sad. I was just tired. For years of walking on eggshells. For years of wondering when the next test would come. For years of having my emotional stability dependent on whether she woke up in a good mood. Okay, it was all I had left. She didn't respond that night. I figured she was waiting for the flood of messages to start. The calls. The grand gestures. They never came. I finished my beer, watched the rest of the game, and went to bed. Slept fine, actually. First peaceful sleep I'd had in months. Now here's where I need to introduce someone else into this story. About a year ago, my fiancée started a new job. She became close friends with a coworker. Let's call her exactly what she was, my fiancé's coworker. They hung out constantly. Lunches, happy hours, weekend brunches. My fiancée insisted I meet her. "You'll love her," she said. "She's so cool. Not like my other friends." She was right. The coworker was different. Smart, funny, down to earth. Didn't play games. When we all hung out together, she was the only one who seemed genuinely interested in conversations rather than just waiting for her turn to talk. She asked me about my job, my hobbies, my life, and actually listened to the answers. But she was my fiancé's friend, so I kept things strictly friendly, polite, appropriate. Over that year, though, I noticed things. The coworker was always single, by choice, she said. She'd been burned before and was waiting for someone real. She'd make little comments sometimes, always appropriate, never crossing lines, but comments that stuck with me. "Your fiancé's lucky. You actually listen when people talk. I wish I could find a guy who showed up for his partner the way you do." Nothing scandalous. Just observations that made me realize not everyone saw relationships the way my fiancée did. After that Sunday night text, I gave myself permission to think about things I'd been suppressing. One of those things was that I'd always felt more comfortable, more myself, around the coworker than I ever did around my fiancée. Monday passed. No messages to my fiancée. No calls. Tuesday, I went to work. Came home. Made dinner. Watched TV. Wednesday, I noticed my fiancée had viewed my Instagram stories but still hadn't texted. She was definitely waiting. Thursday evening, I did something I've been thinking about for 48 hours. I texted the coworker, "Hey, not sure if you heard, but my fiancée and I broke up. She ended things on Sunday. I know this might be weird, but I was wondering if you want to get coffee sometime. Just to talk. No pressure." She responded within an hour. I heard. She told me Tuesday. Said she needed space to find herself. "I'm really sorry. And yes, coffee sound good. Are you free Saturday?" I was free Saturday. Friday came and went. Still nothing from my fiancée. I could picture her checking her phone constantly, getting more and more confused. This wasn't how the script was supposed to go. Saturday morning, 10 a.m., I met the coworker at a coffee shop near my place. We talked for 3 hours. Not about my fiancée, about everything else. Her family, her dreams, her terrible taste in reality TV shows, which she owned proudly. She made me laugh. Actually laugh, not the polite chuckle I perfected over 4 years. When we left, she hugged me. A real hug. "I had a really good time," she said. "We should do this again. Tonight," I heard myself say. "Dinner." She smiled. "Pick me up at 7. That night, I took her to an Italian place I'd always loved, but my fiancé had refused to try because Italian food is so heavy. We split a bottle of wine, ate way too much pasta, and talked until they practically kicked us out at closing. I didn't kiss her that night, but I walked her to her door and told her I'd had the best night I'd had in years. She said she felt the same. Sunday, exactly 1 week after the breakup text, I heard a car pull into my driveway at 2 p.m. I was making lunch. The coworker had come over to watch movies. She was curled up on my couch in sweatpants, looking completely at home. The doorbell rang. I opened it to find my fiancé, ex-fiancé, standing there with mascara-streaked cheeks and red eyes. She'd clearly been crying. Behind her, I could see her sister sitting in the car, watching. "Why haven't you called me?" my ex demanded. "It's been a week. I've been waiting for you, too." She stopped. Her eyes had drifted past me into the living room, to the couch, to the woman sitting on it. The coworker looked up from her phone. "Oh, hey." My ex's face went through about 16 emotions in 3 seconds. Confusion, recognition, disbelief, fury. What the hell is SHE doing here? "We're hanging out," I said calmly. "What's up? What's up? I broke up with you a week ago, and you're already... She couldn't even finish the sentence. "You're right. You did break up with me. Via text. I accepted it. That wasn't... I didn't mean..." She was sputtering now. "That's not how this was supposed to go. How was it supposed to go? You were supposed to fight for me. You were supposed to show up and beg and prove you cared. That's what you always do." I let that hang in the air. "Yeah, I used to do that. Not anymore. So you just moved on? In a week? With her?" She pointed at the coworker like she was pointing at a pile of garbage. The coworker stood up. "I'm going to give you 2 a minute." She walked past us, gave me a small nod, and headed to my bedroom to give us privacy. My ex watched her go, then turned back to me with renewed fury. "She was supposed to be my friend, and you were supposed to be my fiancé. Things change. You can't just replace me like that." "I didn't replace you. You ended things. You said you couldn't do it anymore. I believed you. I was testing you. I needed to know you still cared." There it was. Out loud. "Finally." "I know," I said. "That's the problem." Update 1. 3 days later. After Sunday's doorstep confrontation, I figured my ex would rage for a bit and then move on. I was wrong. So wrong. The entitlement levels were absolutely insane. First, it was the texts. Dozens of them. Not from her. She'd apparently decided she was too hurt to communicate directly, but from her sister. "You're a disgusting human being for moving on so fast. She gave you 4 years, and you're already with someone else? This is emotional abuse. You led her on and then discarded her." I didn't respond to any of them. Just screenshot everything and saved it in a folder. Then came the calls from her mother. 3 times on Monday, twice on Tuesday. I let them all go to voicemail. The messages range from, "How could you do this to my daughter?" to, "I always knew you weren't good enough for her," to, "You need to give back the engagement ring immediately." The ring, right? Here's a fun detail. I'd spent $12,000 on that ring. It was mine. I'd picked it out, paid for in full, proposed with it. When she said yes, it became hers. But when she broke off the engagement, well, it depends on the state. In mine, if the person who receives the ring ends the engagement, the ring goes back to the giver. She'd ended it. Via text. I had receipts. Wednesday evening, there was a knock on my door. I opened it to find my ex and her mother standing there like some kind of intervention squad. Her father was parked at the curb, looking like he wanted to be literally anywhere else. "We need to talk," her mother said, pushing past me into my living room before I could object. "Please come in," I said flatly. My ex stood in the middle of my living room, looking around like she was searching for evidence. "Is she here?" "Who?" "You know who." "No, she's at her place." "What?" Her mother jumped in. "Young man, what you've done is cruel. Unconscionable. My daughter gave you the best years of her life. She's 28, and you repay her by immediately jumping into bed with her friend? First of all, I haven't jumped into bed with anyone. Not that it's your business. Second, your daughter broke up with me. Via text. I accepted. That's the whole story." My ex started crying. On cue, as usual. "I made a mistake. I was stressed. I didn't mean it. You said, and I quote, 'We need to end this. I can't do it anymore.' You also said you'd been thinking about it for a while. Those don't sound like stress-induced words. But you were supposed to fight for you. Yeah, you mentioned that. Here's the thing. I'm done fighting for people who keep trying to leave." Her mother's face twisted. "So that's it? You're just going to throw away 4 years over one text?" She threw away 4 years over one text. I just agreed with her decision. "The ring," her mother said suddenly. "You need to return it. That ring belongs to my daughter." Actually, no. She broke the engagement. In this state, the ring returns to the buyer. I have the receipt, the credit card statement, and the text message proving she's the one who ended things. That's stealing. That's the law. Look it up. My ex's crying intensified. "I can't believe you're being like this. I loved you. I wanted to marry you. You wanted me to chase you. That's not the same thing. You're cruel. You're cold. You never really loved me at all, did you?" I thought about that for a second. I loved who I thought you were. Turns out that person doesn't exist. Her mother grabbed her arm. "Let's go. He's clearly shown his true colors. You're better off without him." That's what she said in her text. I called after them as they stormed out. "Guess you finally agree on something." Update 2, 1 week later. I'd love to tell you things calmed down after the confrontation with the mother. Nope. The entitlement escalated to levels I couldn't have predicted. First dirty trick, the venue. We put a deposit down on a wedding venue 8 months ago. $5,000, non-refundable, split evenly between us. She'd paid her half. I'd paid mine. After the breakup, I called them to officially cancel and get documentation for my records. Guess who'd already called them? Guess who told them we were postponing, not canceling, and that I might try to cancel out of spite, but she was the real decision maker. The venue was confused. They had conflicting information. They wanted to know who was actually making decisions. I emailed them copies of the breakup texts, explained the situation clearly, and asked for written confirmation of the cancellation. They provided it. Neither of us got our deposits back. That was always the deal, but at least it was over. Second dirty trick, the mutual friends. My ex started hosting what I can only describe as sympathy gatherings at her apartment. Invited all our mutual friends, conveniently forgot to invite me, and spent the evenings painting herself as the victim of a cold, heartless man who'd abandoned her for her own friend. I heard about these through my best friend, who'd been invited but saw through the manipulation immediately. She spent 3 hours crying about how you betrayed her, he told me over beers. Never once mentioned that she's the one who broke up with you. Never mentioned the previous times she'd pulled this crap. Just he moved on so fast. He must never have loved me. Did anyone buy it? Some did. The ones who don't know you well. The ones who do, not so much. We've seen how she operates. The friend group split roughly 60/40ths in my favor. Not a perfect victory, but I wasn't looking for one. I just wanted peace. Third dirty trick, the coworker situation. This one was particularly nasty. My ex and the coworker still worked at the same company. Same department. Same daily meetings. The Monday after everything blew up, my ex apparently started a whisper campaign. Nothing provable, nothing concrete, just comments. Oh, I introduced them. She was supposed to be my friend. I guess some people just can't help themselves around other women's men. Little digs in group settings. Pointed silences when a coworker spoke. The coworker handled it with grace. Didn't engage, didn't retaliate, just did her job. What was wearing on her? She told me she'd started dreading work, and that broke my heart a little. You know you don't have to stay there, I told her one evening. I'm not leaving because of her. That lets her win. Fair. But if it gets too much, I'll handle it. I've dealt with worse. Then came the really low blow. About 2 weeks after the doorstep confrontation, I got a message from my ex's sister. Not angry this time. Sympathetic. Fake sympathetic. Hey, I know things are rough between you and my sister, but I thought you should know something. That girl you're seeing? She's been planning this for months. My sister confided in her about your relationship problems, and she used that information to position herself. She's a predator. You're being played. I showed it to the coworker. She laughed, but I could see it hurt. Your ex told me everything, she admitted. Every fight, every manipulation, every test. I never gave her advice. I just listened. And every time she described how she treated you, I thought the same thing. This poor guy deserves so much better. Why didn't you ever say anything? Because she was my friend, and you were her fiancé. I had boundaries. And now she's not my friend, and you're not her fiancé. Final update, 2 weeks later. Time for the resolution. The situation at the co-worker's job escalated to the point where HR got involved. Not because of anything the co-worker did, because my ex couldn't help herself. Apparently, during a team meeting, my ex made a comment loud enough for several people to hear. Some of us don't steal other people's men, but I guess that's just me. The co-worker didn't respond, just kept taking notes. But another colleague reported it. HR conducted interviews. Multiple team members confirmed a pattern of passive-aggressive behavior, exclusionary tactics, and inappropriate personal comments. The coworker had documentation of her own, screenshots of texts where my ex had called her various names, all sent from my ex's personal phone, but referencing workplace situations. The result, my ex received a formal written warning for workplace harassment and creating a hostile work environment. She was also required to attend a professional conduct training. One more incident, and she'd be terminated. She blamed me, of course. Sent a text through a new number. I'd blocked her main one. You've destroyed my life. My career. My friendships. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. As for the ring situation, after her mother's threats, I consulted with a lawyer friend. He confirmed what I already knew. In our state, an engagement ring is a conditional gift. The condition is marriage. If the recipient breaks off the engagement, the ring goes back to the giver. Case closed. But here's where it gets interesting. I sold the ring. Got about $8,000 for it. Not the full $12,000 I paid, but enough. I put half of it into savings and used the other half for something I'd wanted to do for years. I took a week off work and went on an actual vacation. Just me. When I got back, the coworker picked me up from the airport. She'd been checking on my apartment while I was gone, feeding the houseplants. Yes, I have houseplants now. The ones my ex always said made the place look cluttered. How was it, she asked. Peaceful. Really peaceful. Good. You deserved it. We'd been officially dating for about a month at that point. It felt different than anything I'd experienced before. No games. No tests. No walking on eggshells. Just two people who enjoyed each other's company and communicated like adults. The last piece of drama came from an unexpected source, my ex's father. He showed up at my place one evening, alone. I was hesitant to open the door, but he didn't seem hostile. Just tired. I'm not here to yell at you, he said. I just wanted to apologize. For what? For how my daughter's been treating you. And for how my wife's enabled it. He rubbed his face. I watched her do this to you 4 times. The breaking up, the expecting you to chase her. I told my wife it was wrong. She said it was just how relationships work. It's not. I know. I should have said something to my daughter. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe. Or maybe she would have just learned to hide it better. He nodded slowly. Probably right. Anyway, I just wanted you to know, not all of us blame you. Some of us saw exactly what was happening. He left after that. I never heard from him again. It's been about 6 weeks since the breakup text. Here's where everyone ended up. My ex is still at her job, but she's been sidelined from major projects since the HR incident. Her friend group is fractured. Half of them figured out her pattern and distanced themselves. The other half still defend her, but even they've started to notice how the story keeps changing. Her mother still sends me occasional texts demanding I do the right thing and return the ring. I've blocked 3 numbers so far. At this point, it's just background noise. The coworker and I are still together, taking it slow, learning each other. She moved to a different team at her company, not because of my ex, but because a better opportunity opened up. My ex apparently took credit for driving her out, which sure, whatever helps her sleep at night. As for me, I'm good. Actually good. Not pretending everything's fine good. Just content. I learned something important through all of this. You can't love someone into treating you well. You can't beg your way into respect. Some people will only see your devotion as proof that they can treat you however they want, and you'll still be there. I was that guy for 4 years. Not anymore. My ex expected me to chase her one more time, to prove my love through desperation, to give her the power to graciously take me back when she was ready. Instead, I said, okay. One word. The most powerful thing I've ever said. Edit. For everyone asking if I feel guilty about dating the coworker so fast. No. I processed the end of my relationship the moment I realized my fiancée had trained me to beg for basic respect. The 5 days of silence weren't me getting over her. They were me finally being honest with myself about what I'd been tolerating. Edit 2. Someone asked what happened to the wedding deposits beyond the venue. We put down money on a photographer, $500, lost it, a caterer, $1,000, got $600 back, and a florist, $300, lost it. Total losses for me, about $2,100. Expensive lesson, but worth every penny to be free of that cycle. Edit 3. To the people saying I should have confronted my ex about the manipulation pattern before now. I tried. Multiple times. Every time I brought up how the breakup and makeup cycle wasn't healthy, she cried and accused me of not understanding how stressed she was. I stopped bringing it up after the second time because it always made things worse. Sometimes the only winning move is to stop playing the game entirely. Final edit. The coworker wants me to add that she's never dated anyone from work before and never planned to steal anyone. She said, I just wanted to be a good friend to both of you. Then one of you showed me what you were actually made of, and the other one didn't. I think that sums it up pretty well.